This is a common leak on these Ford Transits. They tend to leak coolant and they leave a drip trail like this, as seen. Comes from the starter motor along that way. It's basically that there. I don't know if you can see that. It's part of the thermostat system for the oil cooler. It's the thermostat for the coolant that runs into the oil cooler. That leaks there. So now in order to fix that, what you need to do is you need to pull out the starter motor, which is held in by 1/2" bolts. A 13 spanner also does work, but the right socket is a 1/2". So there's one at the bottom, which I just showed you, and there's another one here at the top. So this one here, see that one there? That one there you have to leave in place, and you have to pull the starter motor out because there's not enough room to pull out the bolt. Obviously you need to disconnect. You need to go at the back here and disconnect all your power cable and yes, ignition, etc. All those cables there. You need to disconnect all of them. So just the main feed one. So there's one that's held in again by a 1/2" or 13 and another held in by a 10 nut. Once you take those off, then you can use your screwdriver, put it here and just pop this out. Free it up because they can be jammed in there over time. So when you have that off, then you can see the leak. It's a very common fault on these. The O-rings on them go hard over time and they don't seal properly. It's held in by a 8 bolt. So you just need to take that bolt off and take the pipe off. So if you're draining your coolant, that's fine, you can just open that. So before doing all that, you want to start by draining your coolant, which I'll do now. I just wanted to confirm the leak, so hence the reason why I removed the starter motor, but now we'll drain the coolant. And you do that by opening that valve here on the passenger side of the radiator, or the left hand side. So this is the thermostat I was talking about. See what happens here? How this O-ring has basically become flat. See how it's flat and it's not a round O-ring anymore? That's the reason why it's not sealing. These are easily available from Ford. Just buy a new replacement. This is the part number if you need it. So replace this and you'll be fine. Your coolant leak will stop. When you replace this, what we'll do next is I'll show you. We'll fill up the coolant and then we'll pressure test the whole system and then just make sure that there's no more leaks, no further leaks anywhere else. So when you're going to put your replacement part in, make sure you don't forget to close your drain valve on your radiator. Here you can see I've just fitted it in, the new one. I've just cleaned the whole area up and I've torqued that bolt down. So what I'm doing is I'm leaving the starter motor out just to test and see if there's any further leaks in the system. So with the cloth, just make sure you clean up all this area of the old coolant that would have leaked out. Just clean it up so you can identify if there's any further new leaks. So this is the kit I have to pressurize any vehicle cooling system. You don't have to buy these. I think most places you can rent them. If you cannot rent them, just visit a local garage or similar. They should be able to pressure test your cooling system for you for a minimal charge and just ensure that there's no further leaks. Screw it on the cap. Just screw it on and make it tight, and now we will pressurize the system. your gauge or whatever gauge you use should have a green indicator and a red indicator. If not, just stick to your PSI rating. You just want to stay around the 14 PSI. You don't really want to exceed that. So now what you want to do, if you have come up to this stage and the needle is up here and it's not dropping down instantly, so you don't, that indicates that you do not have a leak anywhere, but that doesn't mean that you don't have a slow leak. So what you need to do is just leave it pressurized for at least 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes. Come back and just monitor your needle, just check and see where it's dropped to. If it's dropped anywhere further than 5 psi, then you need to check and make sure that there's no leaks anywhere else. So I'm just going to let this sit, and in the meantime I'm just going to go underneath and check everywhere for any leaks. This is an important tip before putting your starter motor back in your Ford Transit. You want to take this top bolt and you want to slide it in. So keep it in there now only, because you will not get access. Once you're up there, you will not get access to put that bolt in. So you have to slot that bolt in and put the starter motor in at the same time. I'll try and show you that now. I like to use one of these spanners, ratcheting type spanners. It makes it easier just to get in the tight spots. When you've tightened that and you've torqued it down, now you can move to putting the wiring loom back on. So you want to put all the wiring loom back in there. So to put the wiring loom back in, you'll need a 10 mm and you need a 13 and a couple of long extensions. I like to use a 1/4 inch ratchet. It makes it a lot easier to get up there in the tight space. Finally, when you've tightened all your bolts, put your wiring loom back in and tighten the 13 and the 10 mm nut for the wiring. You can put your ground cable back on to the starter motor. Your vehicle might be a bit different. You might not have a stud and another nut. You might just have the bolt and the ground cable here. Don't forget to put the ground cable back in. This won't work properly. You'll run high resistance on the starter motor, so yeah, don't forget that. And that completes the job. You can bolt everything back, take it for a test drive, bleed the coolant system out, and you're done. Hope you liked this video. Please like and subscribe. It really helps me out. Thanks guys.